We talked about all kinds of life. We talked about all kinds of embodied minds. What do you think is the meaning of it all? What's the meaning of all the biological lives we've been talking about here on Earth? Why are we here?
I don't know that that's a well-posed question other than the existential question you posed before.
Is that question hanging out with the question of what is consciousness, and they're at a retreat somewhere?
Not sure, because
sipping pina coladas, and because they're ambiguously defined.
Yeah. Maybe. I'm not sure that any of these things really ride on the correctness of our scientific understanding of it. I mean, just for an example, right? I've always found it weird that people get really worked up to find out realities about their bodies. For example, right? That you've seen Ex Machina, you've seen that, right? And so there's this great scene where he's cutting his hand to find out if he's full of cock. Now, to me, right? If I open up and I find a bunch of cogs, my conclusion is not, oh crap, I must not have true cognition. That sucks. My conclusion is, wow, cogs can have true cognition. Great. So right. So it seems to me, I guess I'm with Descartes on this one, that whatever the truth ends up being of what is consciousness, how it can be conscious, none of that is going to alter my primary experience, which is this is what it is. And if a bunch of molecular networks can do it, fantastic. If it turns out that there's a non-corporeal soul, great. We can we'll study that, whatever. But the fundamental existential aspect of it is, if somebody told me today that you were created yesterday and all your memories are sort of fake, kind of like Boltzmann brains, right? And Hume's skepticism and all that. Okay. Well, but here I am now. So let's.
The experience is primal. So that's the thing that matters. So the backstory doesn't matter. The explanation.
I think so. From a first person perspective. Now, from a third person, like scientifically, it's all very interesting. From a third person perspective, I could say, wow, that's amazing that this happens, and how does it happen, and whatever. But from a first person perspective, I could care less. What I learned from any of these scientific facts is, okay, well, I guess then that's what is sufficient to give me my amazing first person perspective.
Well, I think if you dig deeper and deeper and get surprising answers to why the hell we're here, it might give you some guidance on how to live.
Maybe I don't know. That would be nice. On the one hand, you might be right, because on the one hand, if I don't know what else could possibly give you that guidance, right? So you would think that it would have to be that, or it would have to be science, because there isn't anything else. So maybe. On the other hand, I am really not sure how you go from any, what they call from an is to an ought, right? From any factual description of what's going on. This goes back to the natural, right? Just because somebody says, oh man, that's completely not natural, that's never happened on Earth before, I'm not, impressed by that whatsoever. I think whatever has or hasn't happened, we are now in a position to do better if we can, right?
Well, that's also good, because you said there's science and there's nothing else. It's really tricky to know how to intellectually deal with a thing that science doesn't currently understand.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So, the thing is, if you believe that science solves everything, you can too easily in your mind think our current understanding, we've solved everything.
Right. Yeah.
Right. It jumps really quickly to not science as a mechanism, as a process, but more like science of today. You could just look at human history, and throughout human history, just physicists and everybody would claim we've solved everything.
Sure.
There's a few small things to figure out, and we basically solved everything. Where in reality, I think asking what is the meaning of life is resetting the palette.
Yeah.
Of we might be tiny and confused and don't have anything figured out. It's almost going to be hilarious a few centuries from now when they look back at how dumb we were.
Yeah, I 100% agree. So when I say science and nothing else, I certainly don't mean the science of today, because I think overall, we know very little. I think most of the things that we're sure of now are going to be, as you said, are going to look hilarious down the line. So I think we're just at the beginning of a lot of really important things. When I say nothing but science, I also include the kind of first person, what I call science, that you do. So the interesting thing about, I think about consciousness and studying consciousness and things like that in the first person is, unlike doing science in the third person, where you as the scientist are minimally changed by it, maybe not at all. So when I do an experiment, I'm still me. There's the experiment, whatever I've done, I've learned something. So that's a small change, but overall, that's it. In order to really study consciousness, you are part of the experiment. You will be altered by that experiment, right? And whatever it is that you're doing, whether it's some sort of contemplative practice or some sort of psychoactive, whatever. You are now your own experiment, and you are right. And so I fold that in. I think that's part of it. I think that exploring our own mind and our own consciousness is very important. I think much of it is not captured by what currently is third person science, for sure. But ultimately, I include all of that in science with a capital S, in terms of like a rational investigation of both first and third person aspects of our world.
We are our own experiment, as beautifully put. And when two systems get to interact with each other, that's a kind of experiment. So I'm deeply honored that you would do this experiment with me today.
Oh, thanks so much.
Michael, I'm a huge fan of your work.
Likewise.
Thank you for doing everything you're doing. I can't wait to see the kind of incredible things you build. So thank you for talking to me.
Really appreciate being here. Thank you.